And actually, since you can pretty much move out of the reach of the lightnings, at least, dodge the eyeballs on the side.
Alright, looks like we are off. So, as you see, tonight we have got Fioremi, Durand, Aknaboka, and Leslie Pro on our restreams. And I think we've got about 25 races total in tonight's race. We've also got a palette swap here, so...
Yeah, and we have a hammer start just popping out of the chest in Link's house, so we already have a good weapon to deal with most of the annoying enemies on the start.
A fantastic starter weapon. It's got a small hitbox, so you do have to deal with getting a bit play riskier with the enemies, but it does temper damage, so it's still a great start. So the river outside of our castle seems to be made of cola. The grass is pink, and the lost woods are a really strange shade of mauve.
Yeah, we have that palette shuffle active, and well, there are some interesting looks we got. So, Durand not interested in trying to go for the escape sequence, saving and quitting after Uncle, which had the half magic, and we have already a chain chomp in the castle.
Yeah, Leslie is going for the escape sequence though. And unlike every other dungeon, of course, the Hyrule Castle escape does not have a boss. We'll have a random enemy down where... Well, actually, we'll have a random enemy down in the basement, but it's not going to be a boss, so... you're not going to be limited by your offensive weapons on what you can do to that enemy. Of course, you would go down here without a weapon at all, you'd be kind of stuffed, but not today.
Yeah, so yes, we going through the escape. That first enemy was not the hardest one, but it's not that easy to fight with the hammer. And blind side out from Egg the Poker with a book and a glove.
Yeah, also nice early game finds. It gets you into most of Desert Palace if you won't be able to finish Desert Palace without a fire source. But it does incentivize checking over that area for items a bit more.
Now going on through the well. Five more to check.
Honestly, that grass is really, really unsettling. It's like blood red.
Yeah, I would be a bit suspicious and careful walking around Kakariko. I don't know. This is a little bit unsettling.
That was weird. Durand, I think, aggroed a guard, and that triggered the... Normally in Kakariko Village, when... Yeah, there's a red guard chasing him. So normally in Kakariko, if you happen to bumble into one of the two wandering lady NPCs, they usually say, guards, creep, Link is after me, and you get that alert music and a guard goes chasing up to you. But it seems that if there's a guard in the village and you just happen to walk by it, it triggers the music anyway. I've never seen that before.
It only happens in Enemizer usually, since that's the only mode where there actually are guards before triggering the NPCs, so... I encountered it quite sometimes, but it's not something you are used to if you do not play much of Enemizer, so...
100 rupees on the library list. Oh, there's Stalfus in the chicken hut, along with some chickens.
Yeah, so if you move carefully around the chicken hut, it's not too bad today, but... Yeah, don't want to meet those Stalfuses without good weapon early on.
The thing about Enemizer is that with enemies, well, rooms where you get a cluster of enemies that may normally be weak, say like the chicken hut, or the last room before the last boss last room before the boss in Eastern Palace. Normally those are just weak enemies in there and 2 icons, but in Enemizer you could end up with 8 different really nasty enemies like Lionels, Hinoxes, all that nasty stuff.
Yeah, that's the reason Durant chose to not do the escape front, even after finding a weapon which you normally would prompt you to do it. Because sometimes that hammer might not even be enough to get you through there. And I wonder if we were going to get an early magic bat check, since we did find the powder in Kakariko.
Yeah, seems likely, although only Ak right now Ak and Durand can check the magic bat, and Ak is in a completely different part of the world, so looks like Durand's going to give us our first look.
The problem for Egg was he didn't have any magic at the time he was in Kakariko because of doing the Kakariko start first. So we're going to see our magic bat, or at least try to. Kinda looking pretty dark there.
Fiame was checking the back of escape and didn't really find anything but the spore key, and the rest of the escape, getting through the dark crossroom in Enemizer, is pretty much suicide when you can't see what's in there. But as you were saying, Durand gets flippers from the magic bat. That is a nice
That might be something that Egg may not get that early.
Depends how long he puts it off, really. I don't think he'll be putting off for that long, because we do have an early mirror, so when he ends up in the dark world, so he'll be in the general Phyllis of Outcasts area, and he can easily route it in at the time.
And I just now looked at the map check, and I think I saw just Swamp Palace and Ice Palace being pendants, so who knows, maybe we don't even need them.
Some Titansmiths popping up in Hype Cave for Fiame. That is pretty hype all by themselves.
Yeah, so we have Hammer, we have Titansmiths, and we have the Moon Pearl, which is on there.
That particular tone of grass is reminding me a lot of Hyperlight Drifter, the blue grass, especially the western area.
Durant doing a Houlihan room, stocking up a bit on money. Not the worst thing you can do. Especially with those flippers.
Where did Fiame get that moon pearl, actually? I didn't see it in the back of escape. Ak is checking it himself, so maybe I just wasn't looking.
Yeah, kinda has to be there. Didn't see it either.
Okay, yeah, there's a moon pearl in first chest. So I was dismissing back of escape as being useless, and nope, moon pearl's right there. Still an item over in Dark Cross, though. I don't recall anybody. Well, I think the map has been picked up in the front of escape. So
was it? I missed Zelda's cell. So
Zelda's cell was bombs. In fact, if the map hasn't been picked up, then you might not be seeing Dark Cross at all, which is absolutely great for runners because nobody wants to go in there without a light source. So many enemies down there.
Ooh. So, our trackers today, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuna and Red Arma, and the latter one pointed out that the map was the first chest in front and blue mail at Zelda's cell, so Leslie Pro and Egg already with a nice bit of a defense upgrade.
It looks like Leslie's going over to get their moon pearl now. And Durand is still exploring. He kind of gravitates over to the cave there with the Great Fairy. This is an entrance round of her, so he's not really going to find anything there other than a health restore.
But Egg now with the mids, making its way over to K45 and Village of Outcasts, probably. can just go up there, lift the stone block in the way.
Ooh, Lionel's outside Iceword Cave. And in Iceword Cave, just bombs for Fiami.
And Stompy has just a piece of heart.
Leslie is avoiding the south Dark World entrance for now, and he's actually going to be taking the Village of Outcasts portal. So he's going to get some new stuff here that we haven't seen on Fiami or Axe side.
Yeah, but had to dodge an anti-fairy and a big yellow spike on the way. That's what Enemizer can do to you, and that little troll dome there on the water, you don't want to see that if you're only on one heart and just want to swim over to Hobo.
The kind of like beached rabbit there, although it was in the water, can drop a heart if you walk into him, but this time just 5 rupees. Also on the island in Lake Hylia, there was a bug net. I don't think anybody will be going back for that.
I wouldn't assume so.
That is a very odd palette for those. That's the rope, although it's a snake, and the moving spike there.
And we picked up a hookshot on the chess game. So
Very nice find.
no swords, but we can do almost everything off Swamp Palace.
Yeah, Swamp Palace is a pendant today, so that's kind of nasty. Oh, there's a nice, convenient ice rod in the C-shaped house. So that's half of your Trinex solution if we do happen to find some Trinexes somewhere.
Yeah, and if nothing else, it gives you at least that security of knowing, okay, I have that ice rod, I don't have to fear Trinix blocking at any stage of the game. Deck, no, getting those flippers.
Leslie's giving us our first look inside a really laggy Thieves Town, and he's still on the base 3 hearts. In fact, of those 3 hearts, he's only got 1 left.
Oh, and then anti-fairy
gets sniped.
Sniped him. But yeah, that's the one other thing that Enemizer does to us. If there are many more enemies than the game intended to on the screen, it tends to get very laggy at times. So you kind of have to deal with that.
Oh, Leslie getting bullied by these transformed guards here in Thieves Town. He gets up the stairs and still getting poked. Manages to just get around, but so choppy. He's making his that hookshot to stun everything in his way. Stun prize is a bomb. That doesn't really help him, but there's a big key for Leslie.
Oh, and trying to dodge still the guards.
Oh, the frames are completely dead.
Yeah.
And that is a very pleasant desert there for Duran.
Yeah. I just love the craziness that is Enemizer. If you get bored of the normal modes or how they look like, just do an Enemizer with palette swap and nothing is the same. But at least we got to see that our swordsmiths actually did their job for once and were working on a sword.
Yeah, not quite the iron sword you'd normally expect to get from them, but Fighter Sword is better than nothing. You're still going to need a Master Sword to finish this seed, because Ganon is always going to be Ganon. Ganon is forever. Ganon is enduring. He cares not for your render settings. He will always be Ganon.
And we apparently did get to see the desert is bootlocked. As there was a small key on the ledge, I think. On the torch.
Yeah, because Durand can't get out the front entrance now with the statues in the way, he has to take the right entrance if he wants to go check out Agina's cave, which looks to be his plan. Outside Hammerpegs there's a bunch of dormant Igors, but Furiani gets around them.
And picks up some big money there. And Egina really likes the dark cave today, apparently.
Yeah, the torches are lit, but it's very hard to see anything.
It's a very creepy light.
Ak has found in Fuse Town a wild Argus, but luckily we've got a super early hookshot, so Ak is taking care of it without too many problems here.
Already having found a sword is not in dire need of doing menu fights.
Yeah, thanks to the blacksmiths and the other sword that Leslie has picked up here in Fuse Town, he's on Master Sword now, so no many swaps needed.
And a very nice quickle on the second phase. Argus for a compass. And the first crystal of this game.
Getting to clear a crystal Fuse Town early is always nice. You get a bunch of... Oh, hey, well, if you wanted to put up with dark caves, that lamp will help you in the caves that are supposed to be dark, but the other dark caves like Agina's, it won't help you there. It does make things a lot easier in Enemizer though, because fumbling through the dark with random enemies that you don't know their patterns, you don't even know what the enemies are going to be. It is so useful.
Yeah. If you go through dark rooms in Enemizer, you never know if there's just randomly pop chain jump hoping to get a jump out of you. So finding that lamp in Enemizer is surprisingly more useful than you would first think.
In fact, I was expecting Durand after finding that to just go into Eastern Palace immediately. One thing about Enemizer is that the Igor which you would normally require a bow to kill to get into the last rooms of Eastern Palace will never be there in Enemizer, so you don't actually need the bow to clear it, Eastern.
While this is true, there is also just on boss shuffle there could just be any boss there. So there could be a Mothula or a Blind or maybe just a Cold Stare, which you can't defeat yet, or an Argus, and Durant does not have the hookshot yet, so would be forced to go out there either, so
Indeed.
it's not surprising.
Death Mountain is looking like it's coming from the palette shuffle in Super Mario World. When you complete the special stages in Super Mario World, the whole palette turns into an awesome theme, and it's kind of resembling Cookie Mountain there.
It doesn't look really like a Death Mountain, I'd say.
Leslie Poe also taking on Argus now. He's only stuck with the Fighter Sword, so he's going for... This is quite a bit slow for him than using the Master Sword, but still probably preferable to swapping constantly to the hammer.
Maybe, and there is another sword on inside Spectral Rock. But yeah, I mean, Leslie is only on 1.5 hearts, so I'm not sure, but I might do hammer strats or menu strats in this case, and it's a little bit safer. At least from my experience. But just doing fine. And now on to the second phase.
Just hanging to the side of Argus and sniping with a firewall keeps Leslie very, very safe.
Yeah.
And he is very vulnerable to the fireworks. Normally you just use 2 shots and a sword spin to finish him off, but with Fighter Sword it does too little damage for that, so just stick to firewall shots. Works, keeps you safe, and Leslie also gets his first crystal at the same time as Fuami.
And if I read that chat right, we apparently missed the pickup of the boots.
Yeah, that was on top of Space Cove Rock. Well, thanks, Dave. Yeah. Just give me a text description of what I literally just said. That spike is so inconvenient. Okay.
Yeah.
Grant gets burst but takes some damage.
So this is one of the most annoying things that can happen to you in Enemizers. Spikes and crystal rollers can get in very, very bad places and annoy the hell out of you if you are on low heart still and have neither the cape nor the cane of burner.
In tile rooms, the tile pattern is also randomized. But there's something funny going on here. So see that crystal block just by Durand? That's been replaced by an empty tile spot. So if he hadn't retracted the crystal blocks, would that crystal block still be there? Or is it just removed and he'd be able to get past without even hitting the switch?
I think it's just a visual thing, so you still can't pass through there, but I'm not sure on that. And I can't keep up with what is happening since there's apparently a bow pickup on Furami's side on Skull Woods. Or was it on T-Town?
It was in Skullwoods, as Chad is confirming. I didn't see which chest in Skullwoods, but it is difficult to keep track of all the items that are being picked up by runners right now, because they are in so many different directions. It's just fascinating to see all the different enemies that are popping up here. So we've got some tailless Moldoms here, for example, in the top of here. Though the rest of their tails only clip the other Moldoms off screen. Huh. There's some levers in the back of Skullwoods here, which is a bit more convenient than what you normally see in this room. That is an awful, awful hint at the top of Tower of Hair. It says some cash is in the Sage's closet. That's referring to Shahasrara, but the lamp is with Shahasrara too. So if you saw that hint, that would make you think, oh, better not go there because I'm just going to find rubbish items. No, that's the wrong play here. And he's going for the bomb jump over this pit with very little health. Just make it across.
Also not very good abilities to see there. Just another really dark room and... Ooh, nice fairy drop there.
Fairy drop, yeah. I was actually hoping that piece of heart would give him the enough pieces of heart to give him a full heart refill there, but not today.
What was that for a room there? Oh my god, was that nasty.
We've got a Moldom in the top of Tower here, and this Moldom has sprouted way too many eyes. So if you find Moldoms in Enemizer, they have random amounts of eyes.
Yep. Just your casual 6-eyed Moldor. And hands us 10 arrows.
So finding the powder so early on in this seed is really helping our runners here, because we're ending up with a lot of anti-phase around, and those anti-phase get in mode, but you can kill them with the powder and get a heart refill for your troubles. It's making this a lot easier than it would have been otherwise.
Yeah, and we see now in Death Mountain or East Death Mountain that has not any death grogs for once, so and kind of nice change of the Enemizer there. Some of the most annoying enemies that could you have just replaced by nothing very bad.
The fake skull still gets in the way. Because it acts like an object until you touch it, and then it kind of activates, and then you can kill it or make your way past it. Ooh, beam moss and Lionel statues in the bottom of a cave. That's a potent combo.
Yeah, also the combo of Argus and the Mothula boss room is apparently not the nicest either.
Yeah, Skullwood is just dependent, so you don't have to beat that Argus, but any boss plus conveyor belts tends to be especially mean. But Argus is a nasty one to find all by itself. And Fiame is deciding he's done with Skullwoods. Well, they are done with Skullwoods, not having any more part of that.
Durant going through Paradox Cave, picking up that cape. And that is a very nice item in Enemizer, since that can make some of the nastiest rooms just easily skippable.
No bow for Durant, so he said, but luckily these are green Igors, not red Igors, for a kind of a gold color today. So just have to kill them very slowly.
Could maybe make use of the hammer, but going for fighter sword spins takes a little while longer then.
Yeah, if the way the Igors rush towards you when they activate, I think using the hammer is pretty tricky there. If you're just using the vanilla fighter sword on them, I believe it normally takes 8 slashes with a fighter sword to kill them.
And swamp another 6-eyed Moldorm.
Aside from that pretty inconvenient Argus in Skullwoods, although Skullwoods is just dependent, well, not really any trolley bosses so far.
No, not really, but we didn't get to see Eastern yet, and there could have been a trolley boss at that point, so there's still options.
Durand is heading into Desert Palace again, but with the boots this time, so he's actually going to be able to finish this on this second time through. He's also got that critical lamp from Shahrazad's hut, so the fire source is taken care of on that side either. And the rod I saw earlier, which I thought was the ice rod, is actually the fire rod, so other runners won't have problems either, until they get to Dark Room servers. Ak making use of that Ether medallion he found in Swamp Palace to one-shot everything in Mini Moldorm Cave. Ether medallion is a really nice item if you just want to say, I don't want any part of this nonsense, I just want to freeze or one-shot everything in my immediate vicinity. It's a quick animation and it works on pretty much everything.
Yeah, medallions in general may not be used much in normal seeds, but in Enemizer they are surprisingly useful if you have the ability to activate them, because some rooms are just mean, and killing everything on the screen instantly for just a little bit magic and slow short waiting period might just be a very good deal.
It's definitely going to help Ak going into Ice Palace here. Surprisingly, Ice Palace isn't going to have that many icy enemies, but it does have a lot of enemies in rooms. So this one, the enemies in it aren't actually too bad, but Ak decides to freeze them all anyway. Still got to slide around and kill them.
Yeah, on ice especially, if you can just freeze the enemies, you have an easier time.
So Leslie Poe also picks up his red pendant. We did see on Fiami's side that the pedestal is couch cash, though, so there's no need for the extra pendants today. But you know, our runners are looking for items, and Swamp Palace is filled with items, so might as well go in there. And he is going to check out the left side now.
Yeah, and will thus encounter the nice room with just casually 2 crystal rulers and a chain chomp guarding the switch. Let's see how Leslie is going to tackle that room. Meanwhile, Egg going for the bomb, 1 bomb to kill the 2 Stealthos threats in
Yeah.
Ice Palace, but there are no Stealthos to kill.
Yeah, a very instinctual play there.
Yeah, sometimes muscle memory just messes with you, because you have to remember in Enemizer, the enemies are not there where you expect them to.
And there's a Trimax.
Yep. That's a no to Desert Palace right now. When Furemi gets hit by the 6 eyes of Moldor. Probably too distracted to dodge.
But these
pushed off.
spike rollers in the left side of Swamp Palace, awful. And there's a chainsaw right next to them as well.
Yeah. I would assume that room usually would need the cape to clear.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's really going to be able to pull that, push that flooding switch with the chain jump. Pretty much sitting right on top of it. So although I said Ice Rod was a nice find early on, and it was actually the Fire Rod, yeah, we're still going to need to find that Ice Rod now. There's a palace, there's a crystal, and there's a Trinix ready right there.
Yep. So at least there's not the situation where you think, okay, I may be in go mode, I do just go up to GT, hope that I don't need the Ice Rod, and then be blocked very rudely. So at least you have now to find. You need to find the Ice Rod now.
The Giant is heading back into Eastern Palace. He still doesn't have the Moon Pearl yet from the back of Escape, so he hasn't got many options yet. So this is still going to be new stuff for him. Something we haven't seen any of our other rounds go to. And thanks to that lamp being right outside Eastern Palace, he should be able to finish this.
That's what you say, but there's still a cold stare that, according to Duran's inventory, might not be killable yet. And
Leslie Poe claims a bugnet from Lake Hylia.
Well, you are still on 6 hearts, you have the powder, and as soon as you get a bottle, you might want to store some fairies in those, because if you have to deal with things like chain chomps guarding water switches, you might want to have that 1 or 2 revives you can grab.
Yeah, giving us our first look at the pyramid here. It is a rather ordinary looking pyramid. Just 20 rupees up there. Fiami is now checking out Paradox Cave thanks to having the hammer whilst up the top of Death Mountain. John's kid is quite a bit earlier, and I don't think he really got anything for his troubles, but Fiami gets through quite a bit quicker because Tempered Sword one-shots those Igors.
Yep, and Fiami can give us a look at some new checks now. Since with the Moon Pearl and the Myths, we can also explore Dark Death Mountain.
Duran gets a hint about a unique item being in Skull Woods. Great for him because the bow's over there, but at the same time he can't get into the Dark World yet because he hasn't reached the back to escape.
Yeah, funny thing about that bow is there's really only one place it absolutely locks in Enemizer, and that is the Helmosaur boss fight room. So
Yep, you always need a bow and arrow to hit the Igor statue to open up the secret wall and get into the basement where the Helmosaur King is residing.
yep, so that bow really don't miss it for most of the time because there's nothing it locks, but we do need it for a crystal, so that hint is very helpful actually. And I missed the Turtle Rock medallion.
Looks like it was Bombers. Shout out to our trackers tonight, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuner and Red Amber for keeping us on track with those little things like that we may miss. So thank you very much.
Ooh. And very aggravating anti-fairy there.
Yeah, that's punted via me twice off the edge twice now. Gets to a safe spot, swaps to the magic powder, and gets rid of it. Quake medallion.
What would Quake?
A nice use of the sword beams there to knock the hard hat beetle into the pit. Kind of a burner there, which is gonna be useful.
Oh, and that room in front of Durant is very stacked with enemies that just won't let you go in there.
Yeah, and for lack of other options, Durand is just going through the time and tested method of spam sword swipes.
Gets down that Mini Helmosaur has now one mummy left there, takes it down. And can now go on to show us what is the boss in Eastern Palace.
It's
That's
another
a
try.
So the second nope of today.
This is so unfortunate for Durand actually, because he's made a lot of headway into dungeons because he cannot get into the Dark World now, but all he's finding for his trouble are Trinexes. So he still doesn't really make any progress, and he's got to double dip all these dungeons again. First, he started from Sanctuary there. He is going back into Kakariko. Oh, he's doing a bottle check. I don't think I've seen the sick kid yet.
There was no real reason to go there, or you didn't have a bottle when you were there, so still scrambling for that moon power location.
I hope he's not forgetting about the back of escape, because he is very much avoiding that area so far. Has he actually done the front of escape? Because he seems to be heading in that direction.
I don't remember, but I think Durant was the one that did the save and quit out of it, and meanwhile Aktaboka found something to play a bit of music on. Did it by of a very shady looking fish for an horrendous amount of money.
Yeah, honestly, would he trust a fish surrounded by blood-red grass in a really murky brown pond? I guess you call it a pond because most of it is shallow.
Yeah, I didn't really would want to swim in there, but
Blues! That is a nice find.
yep.
And apparently there's something under the ledge too, it's Leslie's going for. Oh, piece of art.
certainly not wrong if you're still on, I believe, 7 hearts. Or 8, at least for Leslie now.
Really
But
depends on your confidence in dodging enemies. Like with blue mail and 8 heart containers, you might feel pretty confident that you can deal with whatever you come across, but more safeties never really hurt. Well, it costs you time, but that's about it.
yeah, but say that to the Chain Jump and Swamp. That one begs to differ there.
Now, Fiorami was heading over here to check out Pod with that burn hand, but gets their lamp from Shahrazvala, so Fiorami is in a really good place for now for finishing this dungeon.
Well, unless there's a certain boss in here, which the item we need to finish him, we still don't have.
Yeah, it is Chaos Boss Shuffle, so we could be ending up with Trinexes everywhere.
Certainly can happen.
And at the very least, we know that Fiorami will probably be moving over to Eastern Palace, going all the way through that, and then finding a Trinex. So unless Fiorami is lucky enough to find the Ice Rod in here, it's going to be a bit of a time sink for them, just for the Eastern Palace. Now, Ak also has that flute and is checking out the Maya area immediately. Just a piece of heart in a checkerboard cape. I didn't catch what he got in the Maya shed, but it doesn't look like there's anything tasty on his tracker, so probably nothing. Oh, apparently, according to chat, Ak did find the bomber's medallion in the Maya shed, so
No,
that gets him Ak's.
what they meant was almost is needed for Maya as well.
Oh, okay, right.
Because I did check for that Bombos medallion on X inventory, and it wasn't there, so...
So Duran claims that blue mail from the front of escape, and where are you going, Duran? Where are you going? No.
He has a lamp, he has a sword, and he has a cape. So he is doing the thing that he thinks is the one thing that is left for him. Oh boy. Well, at least we know which boss will await us on the end of this dungeon.
Yep, Aga is, as well as Ganon, Aga is eternal and persistent. Aga is always going to be Aga. And due to the nature of randomizer, Aga will also always fire a certain number of blue balls. Oh, look at that spike! That spike in Pass of Darkness. That is rude, extremely rude. And
Fiorami doing a very nice bonk dodge there.
you could have just pulled out the Cane of Burner.
And the next
okay,
one.
yeah, for this one, you want to pull the Cane of Burner out here.
So, when I saw that this Enemizer today, I was debating if I want to play or want to commentate, and the longer I watch it, the more I think about it. I'm pretty happy to just commentate this one, because it has some very, very, let's say, interesting stuff. And there's Bombos.
So looking like all the progression items are in Fiorami's hands right now, except for the Canis Maya, because we're going to need that for Museum Maya, the Flute from King Zora to even get to Museum Maya in the first place, and, of course, the Ice Rod.
And I'm kind of looking at this now. There's so much strange and weird stuff going on, and things spin everywhere where they are not supposed to be. But I think the Ice Rod might just be where it's always is. Inside Turtle Rock.
It's practically vanilla.
But do you run now on blue ball time?
Yeah, so normally we wouldn't be seeing this, but since we are seeing this, get some guesses in chat for how many blue balls Durant is going to unfortunately waste his time facing off against. I reckon 4 blue balls.
I going for that usual 15.
15 would be especially punishing considering how unnecessary this aggro is, but maybe it's wanted. I don't know. That's too mean. I don't think it's wanted. We are starting off with 2 blue balls.
Good start so far.
So the first cast after a lightning bolt cast is always going to be a regular projectile, but everything up there has a 50-50 chance of being a blue ball. That one was a regular projectile, so you're not going to get your magic number of maximum blue balls today. Very fortunately for Durant.
Yeah. That would be adding insult to injury, but
That's 4 blue balls.
that's bad already, so
And in the basement of Palace of Darkness, there are a lot of guards and Gibdos. So all of the enemies that can possibly fixate on you and chase you around.
yeah. Firami
do the same
already
thing.
on Tempered Sword did it with spins, but you could have always pulled out your Bombos medallion, and that's another chain jump, just casually hanging out with an anti-fairy in a narrow way on the way to the boss in Palace of Darkness.
So Durant sees no moon pole on Pyramid and is stuck.
And we have a Mothula in Port, and first thing Firami does is actually hit Mothula into the spikes. So usually Mothula, one of the easiest bosses, if not in the vanilla boss room, but everywhere where spikes are, Mothula can get his invulnerability, so you might
Durant
want to
is
be careful of that.
Durant is finally heading into the back of escape.
Yeah.
And he gets his moon pole.
And now Heaven the Lamp is checking out that Dark Cross. And if that is the Ice Rod, I don't know if we did see it yet, so...
Nobody has been here because everybody got their moon pole before getting in the lamp from Shasvala. So this is one more check.
Oh!
A set of rude spike rollers there. Again, the invincibility items are, well, Durant does have a cape. He can use it.
Yeah, I would want to
And, oh, he doesn't use it and takes a hit and dies. Yeah, I would have... taking a death there does put you back into the back of escape again. Something I've never seen before, actually. Seeing somebody die in the back of escape trying to get through the Dark Cross is not something I personally witnessed, so learn something new every day.
Yeah, I mean, Hyrule Castle acts like a dungeon, so if you die in there, it puts you at the point where you entered the dungeon, and if it's the back of escape, well, it puts you back there.
Yeah, Ak was trying to take a fall to, well, I'm not sure what he was doing actually. He's already opened the big chest. He just decided to take a fall in the top of Tower here for some reason. Anyway, he's on his way to 6-hour Mordor.
And we have now Firami on the way to get a nope.
Poor Joan takes a death on his way to the Dark World portal in near Kakrika, so he's going for the other option. Oh no, he's going back to Sanctuary again. He's going to try. He does need to head over to Hype Cave to get his Titan's mitts, but I don't think there's anything else in Hype Cave that would help him, like heart containers and such. That's all looking elsewhere.
Yeah, but getting those Titans mid would get you to take the easier entrance to that portal, and you wouldn't have to cross that bomb slugs here, which are now here after we cleared Aga 1 instead of the chain jump. Which is interesting. I'm not sure which one is actually worse.
Jeremy takes a quick swipe at Trinex with a Temperature just to show that Trinex who's the boss, and then mirrors out. Aglaboka is doing his Dark World Deathman attacks like Fiami before. And what haven't we seen yet? We've seen all of our, well, we've seen most of our runners go through Swamp Palace. We've seen them go through Feast Town, Tower of Hair, Palace of Darkness, Eastern Palace, Desert Palace. We've also seen Skull Woods. I don't think we've seen what's at the back of Skull Woods yet, though.
Well, we know that there's an Argus in the back of Skullwoods, but no one managed to kill it just yet. And
Yeah.
Durant has to be a bit careful there because Skullwoods is swarming with Lionels.
Of course, Skullwoods had the Argus at the back, and Fiami's been the only one to go there because Fiami has the bow. Nobody else has it. So we can't get into Missing Mile or Turtle Rock because we don't know where Bombos is. It's not on the Bumperlets route, is what Fiami
We
was just
do
checking.
know where Bombos is. It was in Palace of Darkness in the Dark Basement. Fiorani picked it up.
Oh yes, so that is correct, but Fiami does not have the fluid yet, so they cannot get over to Maya.
Yeah, and even if he could get into Maya, he would not be able to finish it yet without that Cane of Samaria.
Right, so we're not looking for Bombos, we are looking for the Cane of Samaya and the Ice Rod. I had missed that the Bombos was in the basement of Turtle Rock.
Oh boy. This Enemizer is really not beginner friendly. Just put in those anti-fairies alongside those guards in Skullwoods.
Yeah, this is definitely an Enemizer designed for those who have played Enemizer before. Ooh, Giant's having a bit of trouble with a crystal switch here because there's still wall masters in this room, and the guards are proving particularly aggressive.
Yeah. But now got the statue and managed to get through.
Well, there's a fairy randomly flying around in the back of this room, so Giant picks it up. Okay, King's Tomb coming up for Fiorami. This is new. Silver arrows, very nice find, but not what Fiorami needs right now. So this is going to be good for Fiorami because they are heading in a general direction of Catfish and Sora, and they will be able to get their flute from Sora.
Yep, that puts Fiorami in the situation of being able to access Mire. And you're now going to pick up the good stuff.
So, fortunately for Jan, he's starting to do his Dark World checks far later than all of our other runners, but he's got no time for frustration or rage or anything, he's sticking it out. So if Fiorami gets thrown some bombs by a Catfish, which is almost vanilla, because if he throws something into Catfish's pond after you've already got his item, he throws a bomb at you. And this is a primed bomb, so it's going to explode in your face. But yeah, they are going to get their food very shortly. Aglaboka is now taking a peek into Skullwoods himself. So he'll be picking up his bow here. He may also be giving Argus another try.
Well, Agus now is currently in the Lost Woods and is probably given a check on the pedestal.
Oh, right, yeah, this is
Getting to
Lostwoods,
bad
not...
news.
Yeah, this is Lostwoods, not Skullwoods. It's kind of hard to tell with pallets, you know.
Well, you could probably teleport by you can see what's going on Skullwoods, but picking out what's in Lost Woods is actually kind of hard. Because that palette does not really work with the mist which is hanging about the Lost Woods. And Durant trying to take it through Teastown.
And gets a hard hat beater in the face. Leslie Bow is checking out Spike. Oh, at the same time as Ack as well.
Ooh. So I can't quite remember, but did we actually see the attic or the basement of Thievestown? Because in Enemizer you can't just go straight up to the blind boss fight and fight the boss there.
You know, I don't actually recall if anybody went into the basement or not. Obviously, Fiami and Ack are both taking out Argus that was there. But I don't think we've seen anybody do a full clear yet for items. But I'm not certain about that. Now, Ack's going to take a look into Desert Palace here. He can get the small key from the tools, but there's going to be a Trinex surprise at the end. But Fiami, meanwhile, thanks to that bomb medallion, will be able to get into Mizumaya.
So chat and our trackers pointing out that Leslie indeed full cleared Thievestown, so we at least should know that everything that is there, and thus there apparently is no ice rod in there at least.
Fiami choosing to go into Desert Palace before Mizumai, which is understandable. It's quite a lot quicker to check out Desert Palace than Mizumai. It's also a crystal that you know you can finish, at least until you find a Trinex at the end. But I think, no real items in here that will help our runners right now.
So yeah, where is that ice rod? Or the cane, for that matter. I mean,
I think Kane itself is probably lurking in Mizumaya, actually. Maybe vanilla, maybe French vanilla.
did we see the entirety of Ice Palace? I kinda missed it with all the stuff that's going on, or that was going on.
We've seen a little bit of Ice Palace, we definitely haven't seen a full clear. Akka, of course, was in there and had a bit of a walk-in with a Wallmaster and decided to nope out of it.
Yeah. I had that experience myself once, playing an Enemizer, lifting that stone, dropping down to the cold stair boss room fight, and seeing that ominous shadow over my sprite, and hearing that sound, and I thought, oh no. But
Akka's going in for a second go at Ice Palace.
But somewhere has there to be progression. That might just be here.
due to the nature of ice physics and ice palace, if a warm monster jumps on you when you're trying to change direction or make a 180-degree turn or something like that, yeah, there's a very good chance you're going to get caught by that warm monster. Right, there it is, right there by the crystal switch, but Ak is prepared this time.
Knows what is happening, was able to dodge. But you're not safe yet. When there is one Warmeister somewhere, there can be more.
Yeah, he doesn't put down a bomb this time because he remembers that there's no Stalfos in that room. Just casually hovers across the gap because, no time for bomb jumps. He's been in here once already. Doesn't want to waste any time.
And Jeremy does make the play into Meyer. So
it's looking pretty purple today.
Yep. Deciding to get a bit of a different style today instead of the usual green. Getting a bit of contrast. And maybe the bane of every speedrunning attempt, those hiding shadows.
Vanilla rolling spikes in this room in Ice Palace. Up above are some guards and a Hinox. First, Justin Meyer, a small key.
Heck, going for that ferry to refill and then...
Yeah, a Stalfos and a bunny beam underneath the rock there. This is looking like a very vanilla room.
Yeah, but made sure to dodge a potential War Master that might just wait to grab onto that stone.
So a map in the big key chest in Ice Palace. Still looking for those items. Suspicious lack of fire bar in that room, and yeah, a War Master almost grabs Ak. Because if there's an enemy missing and he didn't see anything, it's either going to be one of those Dark Lizards, or it's going to be a War Master. Third bottle in that chest for Ak. Or fourth, actually.
And Jeremy haven't found both items and the big key in Meyer, just going out since not being able to progress. And Durant, 1 hour and 3 into the seed, finally getting to that hype cave, picking up the Titansmith.
Compass in the Ice Tea chest in Ice Palace. So there's an item on Cold Stare, I believe. Or rather, what may be Cold Stare, or maybe something else.
And Leslie takes the nope and leaves.
Oh, there's a big chest too. Okay, so there might be an item here. It's a small key.
Yep, so just do that, boss, get the item. And Jeremy now on to Ice Palace as well.
Incredible amount of anti-phase in this room, which is kind of draining Axe magic here. It's probably not going to be Cold Stare in the next room, but if it is, I think he has just about enough magic to take him on, and he also has a blue potion, so he's going to be pretty comfortable taking on a cold state, this one down here. It's another modal.
Well, that is pretty much as free as it can get at this point.
So we haven't had much variety in bosses so far. We've mostly had, I think we've had 3 Moldorms, 2 Arguses, and 2 Trinexes.
And a moth. And
Oh yeah, there was a moth too, yes.
But ice was not the progression either, so...
Well, we don't know that yet, because that was Green Pendant.
Ah, okay, might be.
And looks like Axe probably going to be checking out that Green Pendant immediately.
Yeah, I mean, we're running out of location where that progression could be. But Egg is heading for Palace of Darkness.
So he can route in...
Yeah,
he can route in the Palace of Darkness and get bombers at the same time as seeing what's behind the Green Pendant, so...
It gets a bit trolled by that fiber trying to dash through it.
Durant is already heading into Palace of Darkness himself, so they are going to get their Bombers Battalion as their first battalion.
Yeah, haven't gone the other route from Village of Outcasts down to Hype Cave. It makes sense to just continue.
Though that said, neither Durand or Akaboko have been to Skullwood yet, so they still don't have their burst, so they actually can't finish Palace of Darkness. Right, what was that from Green Pendant? Because I was not looking. Chat is screaming 20 bucks.
And that almost should leave us no other choice than that very, very, nice.
So the play here is to go into left side swamp, I guess, and face off against 2 spike rollers and a chain jump. Leslie almost did it, but he had no invincibility items and took a death. So that's looking like the play right now. I can't think of anywhere else that our runners can check.
I don't think there is anything anymore. I would assume Bumper Cave has been checked.
The Bumper Cave was just some cash. Fiammi took a look at it. I don't think Dark Horse has been checked yet either, as Schrodin in chat points out. Durant almost had a look over there because he had no other options. Well, he did have other options, but he got his Moonpulse so late that he already had the lamp. But he took a death on the way there and wasn't able to check the item.
Leslie and Skullwoods will get the bow soon.
Fiammi takes a Wall Master to the head and immediately nopes out of Ice Palace, which is great for them because Ice Palace is a giant bust, but it's going to be niggling Fiammi for a bit.
I mean, you really do not expect Wall Masters outside of the dungeons where they normally are, but in Ice Palace especially, they can just catch you off guard, and you're taken right outside more often than you want. But Fiammi now picking up that half magic.
Durant gets bullied by the spike at the end of the bridge, and this time is getting out the cape to get past it.
Yeah. That's one of the first things you learn in Enemizer. The cape and the Cane of Burner are your friend. They can bail you out of most situations that would otherwise be impossible.
Fiammi has not done the front of her escape yet, so they're going to pick up Red Mail down here and probably head over to Dark Cross.
And we will finally get a look at it. Because with Red Mail up to 13 hearts and both invincibility items and half magic, we should we should be able to get through there, right?
Ak also has an encounter with the spikes getting in the way here in the Paths of Darkness. I must say, for an Enemizer, this one has been particularly mean about putting really inconvenient enemies in the tightest locations possible. We've basically had fire bars, chain chomps, rolling spikes, every way you can think of where they would cause maximum inconvenience.
Well, there are still some spots left where there could be mean spikes placed. One
Mostly per
favorite
going
of
for mostly per not using the Ethermadan to freeze on enemies in here. Instead, the Pick-Picks eat a few rupees from Leslie. They can eat your shield. The vanilla Link to the Past game mostly doesn't have light-likes, but they did actually have some light-likes over by the Curiosity Shop in the Dark World in the Game Boy Advance version. And of course, they could eat your shield just like the Pick-Picks in this game.
And on to the Dark Cross we are on Furami's side.
Yeah, they don't have much health left. Oh, we've got wrist robes and one of those green electrifying cucumbers there. But luckily being on red map, Yami really doesn't take much damage, so they'll be able to get through and check out the item here, which is red rupee. Oh no! So left side swamp is a play.
Oh, that is just mean.
Well, if Yami has a hammer, it looks like that's exactly where they are going.
Yeah, I don't really think there is another play to do at this point. Furami did not make the play to swamp yet, so up to 6 items and pretty much all the equipment you could think of that you could get up to this point. Durant clearing that turtle room with Master Sword spins, not deciding to shorten it up with the Bombos medallion. But is now intending to get that anti-fairy and turn it into a 7-heart refill.
Yeah, just gonna be careful with the chain chop on your way back, because that could take out most of your refill. Giant immediately hits Morphle into the spikes, just like Fiami did.
Yeah, you usually are so. Or you usually do that first attack upwards on Morthura to push Demorph on that one block that isn't the spikes in the usual boss fight. That's not how it works here.
So normally punting an enemy into spikes in any kind of room will do the equivalent of gold sword damage. And Morphula does not take damage from the gold sword. In the randomizer, Morphula is programmed so that if you have the gold sword when you're facing him, he will take tempered sword damage. But if you're hitting him into the spikes, he will take that equivalent of gold sword damage and thus no damage at all. So if you've got spikes in another room, it pretty much applies only to Helmazor King and Morphula's there. You're still not going to do any damage to Morphula if you hit it into the spikes. Leslie Burr has done an admirable job of dodging all the Wall Masters in Ice Palace so far. Fortunately, it is a giant waste of time for him, but he's doing a good job of it nonetheless. Akinaberg is about to get their very unpleasant Trinex surprise at the end of Eastern Palace.
And there was the third medallion hidden away in the swamp. Didn't quite catch that earlier. And Furami also going further back first.
I mean, it is the standard play. If you find items in the back or you don't ever come across a map or a compass, you can be pretty sure they're going to be on the left side.
Yeah. And Durant that has at least the option of opening up Turtle Rock and getting to read that hint.
So there's a compass and a map room combo in the flooded room in the bottom of Swamp Palace, so Fiami knows there's items lurking on the left. And I very much doubt they're going to leave Swamp Palace behind to check anything else, because I don't think there's anything else they can check.
There can't be much, if anything. So probably going in for there and seeing or getting to see that casual room with the change on gardens by 2 crystal rollers.
Yeah, and Axe now doing a couple of the isolated item checks that Fiami did earlier, such as the bumper ledge and probably the King's Tomb. There's nothing really there for Ack, but he's heading over to Skullwoods now, and he will be able to grab his bow there.
Which will give Egg the access to finish that moth if desired.
So, red pendant for Fiami.
And Durant now getting those 3 bombs. Finish now to Hookshot Cave.
Yeah, he was throwing a bunch of bombs at the hard-hat beetle, so, you know, replenish his supply. Generous of the game.
And Furami straight in back to Swamp Palace, going for that left side, and we will finally get to see what was waiting there for us all along.
Now, I don't recall if both the map and compass have been picked up in Skullwoods. Was there an item on Argus at the end?
I don't know, we never get to see, and I can't remember what the other items were.
So, Ack has the map right now. I forget where the compass was. I think it might have been in the chest at the back of Skullwoods, actually. Because I know Fiami went for that chest, but I don't recall what it was.
Egg, having 13 hearts and red mail just takes the chain jump and those crystal rollers and says, you
Yeah,
can't do anything.
Bates a chain jump into a nice place and then just walks past it and pushes the switch. Although they do bust out the cave to get out of them safely.
Yeah, locks him out a bit from a nice way back, so deciding to just pull out that cape, go back and be done with the root room.
So some rather vanilla textites and the spinning water things, I don't know the name of them, in this room. But the top area has quite a lot of enemies. There's a bomb slug, a fake skull, a beach bunny, a crow. Not too bad.
And we have the big key in the back of Skullwoods.
Okay, first item on left, 20 rupees, not the red item we're looking for. Second item, ice rod.
The ice rod. But we can now finish a few more dungeons.
Meanwhile, Ack is on their way to Argus in Skullwood, so if this Argus has the Cane of Samaya, it's going to be difficult to say who's in front. Ack does not have the compass, so...
Well, we have still the big chest, because we just picked up the big key in the back, so...
Right, that was the big key, right.
50-50, I'd say. Like doing a beautiful job on the first phase of...
Accidentally punts Argus into the spikes over silver arrow, so Argus takes no damage, but finishes off with another silver arrow. Actually, I might be speaking nonsense here. I think Argus was to take damage from spikes if he was in a spike room, but I don't know.
But Argus moved just horizontally, so...
And that was
I think
accomplished
we've
with
gone
Argus.
on.
So it's looking like the Cane of Samaya is from one of the two Trinexes here, so advantage Fuami.
Skullwood's big chest. Still a possibility. The second item was not found.
True, true.
But either way, I would put Furami in a very, very good spot because finding that cane could lead Egg Boker to just try.
Oh, hey, there's a Cane. Cane of Samaya in the back in the big chest in Skull Woods.
That might just prompt a play towards Misery Maya and or Turtle Rock.
So I had to just assume that Fuami had checked this earlier because obviously they got the big key from the back of Skull Woods. They faced off against Argus and took a death and didn't go back with Argus. So they skipped the big chest and didn't get their cane. That is going to sting for Fuami. Hopefully they remember to check it out after they are done with the Trinexes here in Eastern and Desert. But Ak is on his way to Mizumaya.
Yeah, so Egg can clear that dungeon, but still has to search for the Dice Rod. And now with Church Rock open, might just be pulled to those 5 items up there and leaving behind the Toad and Swamp.
I don't know if he caught it just now, but Durand was going through the back room in Swamp Palace here, and the guy just casually decides to walk through the wall and off the screen.
I did see that a few times, but...
It kind of decided that he was going to turn aggressive against Link and rather the Tuhu character that Durand is using as their sprite. But instead of going to attack Durand, just walk off through the wall and out of the room. So try next number 1 coming up here for Fuami, and then an unpleasant shade of orange juice, I'd guess. And with the Tempered Sword and half magic and all the rods, Trinex doesn't really pose much of a problem at all for Fuami.
So 1 Trinex down, at least 1 more to go.
Just bombs from this particular Trinex. Of course, we know that we are in no mode right now. We, the commentators, and everybody watching this race know where all the items are now. But our runners don't know that yet.
Durand picking up those $300 from our 6-eyed Moldorm guarding Swamp Palace. And your enemy heads up the mountain now.
I think they're going to check out Spike Cave.
Should be
I did
the only
see them check out the ether tablets earlier.
Yeah.
And Agdaberger is doing a full clear of missing Maya because he's looking for that ice rod. He doesn't know where it is. It could be here in Missing Maya, but we know it's on the left side of the swamp. A location that nobody ever wants to go back to, but it's a necessary play today.
And that's a bottle.
Yeah, Ag has done all of these checks like Spike Cave ready, so yeah, he has all 4 bottles. Fuami was only picking up their second bottle.
So now to the Lionel Woods on Durand's part.
Now, worst case scenario for Actor Poker here would be another Trinex in the back of Maya. Oh, got to play carefully this. There we go. He was down to 1 heart, but powdered the anti-fey to instead of taking damage from the anti-fey, which would probably killed him off. But yeah, if there's another Trinex here on Axe side, he will have wasted a bunch of time here in Mishima and will need to double dip it after getting the Ice Sword on the left side swamp. So for his sake, we are really hoping he doesn't find another Trinex.
Or decides to do Turtle Rock before the left side swamp.
Yeah, and Fiame is going for the isolated checks before going left side swamp. So starting off with the purple chest. I believe they did the blacksmith chain earlier and got that vanilla sword from the blacksmiths.
Yeah.
Ah, there's a blind in the back of Mizumari. So it's kind of inconvenient to hit blind whilst he's hiding at the top of the room here, because the goo will hit you, but I think Cape Dash strats like you would do on a vanilla Vitreous could work pretty well.
Yeah, either that or what Actaboker is doing here of placing the Tsumaria blocks and just kicking them up to blind. Because if blind's head hits the Tsumaria block, he takes damage, and each of the shots of the Tsumaria also hits blind, so a strategy you can go for. It does not cost quite as much magic.
Ooh, Fiame is now going to go do a full Feast Down clear. Which we've seen a couple people do, like Leslie Pro and Durand, but they haven't done it yet, so this is costing them time that Ak really wants to get that Ice Rod.
Yeah.
Leslie Pro is on their way to Argus in the back of Skullwood, so they're going to get their big key here, and then they're going to get their Cane of Spire, and that will also put Leslie Pro in a good spot.
Yeah, still needs to go for that left side swamp as well, but
he does have invincibility items now and half magic, so he can get through those spike rollers and chain chomps and avoid the majority of the damage, so he will be able to do it successfully this time, with any luck, but that will depend on when he goes back there.
yeah, and there's still the play to Mire and to Turtle Rock that you can always do for those 2 or 5 items, 6 with Mimic Cave. So left side swamp really not looking that attractive right now, and Durant apparently just straight going up to Turtle Rock, expecting that vanilla Ice Rod there.
Yeah, unfortunately no Ice Rod, so he's got the Cane of... Well, actually, it could be just a completely different boss in Turtle Rock, of course. It's not going to be a Trinexer. It could be a Trinexer, but it may not be. So not having the Ice Rods while going to Turtle Rock doesn't really penalise him unless the RNG plays particularly bad.
But you still are doing a full clear of Turtle Rock, probably including Mimic Cave if there was no hint for it, which I can't quite remember at this point. Which is not that necessary, especially if you get a good key layout and can skip Laser Bridge. The other runners, or in that case Furami at least, will have an advantage there.
So Furami heading back into Skullwood, bombs across the gap,
And
gets a Cane of Spire.
Go mode.
Yep, go mode.
At 1 hour 28 minutes and 50 seconds.
And Ak is just like Durand heading into Turtle Rock without the Ice Rod.
Yeah, you have those 5 items and a dungeon you potentially can full clear.
Unfortunately, as a dungeon, Go Mode Turtle Rock is very... Well, it's not very different to non-Go Mode Turtle Rock. You're going to be checking out most of the items in here anyway to get your keys to progress through. So, aside from spending time... ooh, something sharp is in Mimic Cave. That's nice to hint. There's usually some cash in Mimic Cave.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, Durant might go for it to get tempered, but I'm
Well,
pretty
it will
sure
be.
Egg will just skip it, because no real need for it.
Gold Sword is strictly a luxury. It helps you a bit on Ganon, but otherwise it's just overpowering amounts of damage that you don't really need that much. But for Durand, it's definitely worth the time to get that Tempered Sword. But as I was saying, Go Mode Turtle Rock isn't very different to non-Go Mode Turtle Rock, so aside from the time to climb the mountain, this doesn't cost Ack too much time, but Left Side Stomp is still a mean one to check out if you've got to go back down there. So he had Orange Juice try next over in the Eastern Palace, and now in Desert Palace we have Apple Juice try next.
We have still a few more bosses to see, so there might be another training waiting for us.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for Ack to catch up because he's still lacking. He's missing some crystals compared to Fiaimi, and obviously he doesn't have that Ice Rod, so he can't go and kill those Trinexes immediately. But
Furami still has to go back to kill Blind in Misery Maya, but that's not that long of a dungeon. Haven't already gotten that big key.
yeah, at the same time, Ack still needs to go to the back of Palace of Darkness too, because they didn't have the bow when they first went in.
Which could you combine with the skill on Eastern Trinex? So, kinda working out there, but you still have to pick up that Ice Rod first, and that is not a very good or very easy call to make.
I do like the aesthetics in this Mimic Cave. It's a nice deep blue.
Yeah, has a really calming effect here. But we're picking up that Tempered Sword. And Egg.
Ooh, Ack is actually
He's
taking the time to
heading
check out
for
Mimic
it.
Cave. Did he read the hit, or did he skip it?
I'm pretty sure he did read it because I noticed that hint on Egg's side. I would just assume Egg wanted to just grab that gold sword because why not?
Jumping
Or
on the firebar torch in the dark room of Turtle Rock is a pokey, but the pokey is fortunately stuck, so it cannot harass the giant in any way. And there's a bunch of like really stuck fireballs, but this is a pretty kind dark room.
yeah, I have seen very nasty setups there. For example, spikes just chilling on that bridge.
So this is where the majority of your time is spent if you are in non-go mode Turtle Rock. So there's a small key in the first chest. If in go mode, you can just forget about the other chests, but in non-go mode, you're going to check the other ones to try and find a nice
And
rod.
that fireball or fire snake is just chilling there at the entrance of the room. Durant deciding to not take a risk here and opening up that safety door. Well, Fury picking up that 6th crystal.
And using the other cane to attack Blind there. Keeps you safe from the goo, and Blind takes the same amount of damage no matter what weapon you use against him, so it works. That's my gears are getting in the way. Now, Jans is trying to preserve his magic here. Ooh, he does take a hit from the little fake skull there. He's low on health, but he's got a decent amount of magic, so depending on his execution, he may get on well with a boss here. Unless it's another Trinex.
Well, there is a full magic
Oh,
refill up in the next room.
It's a Moldorm! Agriboka is facing off against yet another Moldorm. Here at the back of Turtle Rock.
And Durant taken an unfortunate death there to the spike, not getting through the room.
I think there's 4 Moldorms in this seed. It's a lot more Moldorms than the average.
Yeah, there was not that much variety of bosses today. And Egg leaving Turtle Rock while Firami opens it.
Okay, Ak, it looks like he's heading back to Swamp Palace. Oh, you know what? This Moldorm has 6 eyes too. That is Rodden, 4 Moldorms, all with 6 eyes. At least they've given him some different amount of eyes.
I think there has to be the enemies changed for that or updated, because almost every time when I see Enemizer seed with Moldorms, all Moldorms have the same amount of eyes, so while the amount of eyes for a seed is randomized, they all have the same.
Leslie Pro taking on Morphia now only hits him once into the spikes, because that seems to be mandatory as far as Morphia is concerned. But Leslie Pro isn't too far behind. They really just have to get over to left side swamp and get that ice rod. He did try earlier, he just needs to try again.
And Durant also on the way to possibly left side? Or maybe doing red bomb? Yeah, okay, with both red crystals done, could be what's needed. And Durant has the option to just do the short version of delivering that bomb using the mirror and then taking the Egger portal back to the Dark World. Just over at the castle.
Might as well make your checks that you don't need to do a bit more efficient when you've got the option.
Yep.
Poor Durand for having to doing Agger 1 and before going into the back of escape and getting that moon power. That has really got to sting. Looks like we don't have any runner audio at the moment. So we were getting audio from Durand just now, but obviously Akka is far ahead. I do not know if Akka's usable audio, but we'll be checking it out and trying to get things sorted here. So please bear with us.
I think there's at least one of our runners without usable audio, so
I do not believe Axe audio is usable at all. We're getting kind of a few notes coming through, but we will have to. It's either technical problems or we can't use it, but not sure yet. Trying to get it sorted. But Fuyami is heading to the back of Turtle Rock. Ak does have Ak does have his Ice Rod now and is heading over to take out his Trinexes, but he's got 3 crystals to do still. It's going to be really difficult for him to catch up unless Viami makes mistakes in Ganon's Tower. And Viami is a very excellent runner, so we don't know yet. We don't know what's going to pop up in Ganon's Tower. We don't know if Viami will possibly struggle with it, and if Viami does struggle with it, if our uprunners also face the same problems. But like I said, Viami is a really good runner, so I do not think they are going to run into really any problems at all, considering the inventory they have.
No, and since Jeremy is about to pick up the 7th crystal in a few moments, because that fight against Moldom number 4 should not take all that much time, we can maybe start to hint at our game that we like to play in this case. So, in Ganon's Tower, the big key can be in one of 22 locations, and we like to guess where it is. So, if you have a guess you want to make, as soon as Jeremy picks up the 7 crystals, put that number into the chat.
But pop it in quickly, because after that Moldom, Viami is going to be very swiftly over to Ganon's Tower. So, chat was asking why Durand hadn't got the fluid yet. It was on Zora. Durand didn't have enough cash for it when he was in the general area. He's now almost got 2,000 rupees, so he's going again. Moldom goes down for Viami, and I am going to make my very guess of 19 for the big key. And especially in Enemizer, I like to see a pretty good tour of Ganon's Tower. So I want to see all the enemies in here. I want to see if there's a Trinex on ice.
Yeah. We really want to hope for that vanilla big key in Ganon's Tower, because we want to see all the bosses, right?
Absolutely.
But Shirami is about to open up GT, and we stop taking guesses as soon as Shirami enters. So if you have guesses left, put in the chat, hurry up. There's only a few more seconds left. And we go to the hope room first. And that's a 1.
Okay, yeah, that's a 1. And a shovel. What a dull GT. Boo.
That is especially different compared to the rest of the seed. That was almost too easy. I mean, from that location of the chest where it was in, it should have just been put a little bit more to the right. So just a room further.
Professor Vendor in the chat for a bit of a crying salute there for poor Durand's sake, who has found himself so far behind in this race thanks to getting trolled by that moon pole in the back of Escape.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be that much, or at this point there is not that much of a difference between Durand and Leslie. But still, who gets to find that ice rod first?
Ak is swatting a moth in the back of Paths of Darkness. He has a gold sword, but as I mentioned previously, it does temper sword damage for the purposes of killing Waffler, because Waffler is immune to gold sword damage, and Spikes being the same as gold sword damage.
Jeremy making use of the silver arrows to kill those Gyptos. Or mummies, or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, a lot of Gyptos and Ice Palace lizards up here so far. You do have to kill all the enemies in this room to proceed forward. Normally there would be beamer statues here, but the beamer statues are placed with regular enemies, and you still have to kill those regular enemies. Those tentacled things from Eastern Palace are completely trivial, and in the next room we've also got levers from Desert Palace. So nothing particularly nasty here.
And we might gonna see a preview of the boss here, but there's nothing to see here because there's just a Vitreous.
There's always got to be a Vitreous and Chaos boss. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but there always seems to be.
And Vitreous without the goo to protect itself just becomes that much more easy if the room has a side, or if there's room on the side of Vitreous. So not a real difficult fight there. Just stay there, just stand there next to the eyes and use your bow a few times.
Ak about to face off against OJ Trinex, and that would be their last crystal.
And Torch Room today playing very nice. I have seen really nasty things happen here too. So this is always a room where you just hope to get an enemy that just hops off into its own death.
Top of Ganon's Tower has a few spikes and a few high noxes.
Still needed to kill the Tynox for that small key. And then Bunny Beam to get a fairy on. So on to Moldon 2, which is a cold stare.
Strawberry flavor cold stare.
So now I'm really curious on what's actually on ice, because if it's a Trinex, then we have not the 3 easiest bosses, or the 3 Light World bosses in GT, but the 3 arguably hardest bosses. For once. Which would be kind of thematic. And Yurami just for this room pulling out that cape and saying, I don't want to deal with any nonsense here.
So here's Agatu for Yurami. Again, this is a static boss, never shuffled. Getting some nice double hits here on Agatu. So that's 1, 2, 2, and one more to finish him off. There we go.
And down. Durant making a quick blind fight here. Deciding to start with the Cane of Burner, but is low on magic, so has to be a bit careful.
A rather strange Ganon sprite flies into the top of the pyramid there.
Yeah, that's...
And we've got cheese facts.
Durant takes a death to blind, unfortunately.
Yurami doing some excellent fire bat dodging here. Oh, does take a hit from one of them, but they've got so much health that it really doesn't matter. Gets through the second phase in just one cycle.
Two marts for the third phase, one more, and then 4 more arrows to finish off that big pig in its newly decorated room.
He's kind of gone for the grayscale look here instead of, the opulent gold look. Galen perhaps was having a bad day when he designed his new Triforce room in the pyramid.
And the big pig is taken down, and Firemi is about to cross that one final bridge to enter that Triforce room. And finishes the seed as first in our restream today with an official time of 1 hour 50 minutes and 30 seconds, placing 4th overall in today's Enemizer race. GG's.
GG. In the couple minutes before Fiami finished, we did have our first place finish with Sonicam in first place for a time of 1:44. Then in the space of in 2 minutes before Fiami, there was Ruler J Bradley in second place, and just 7 seconds before Fiami was 1up40 in third place. So I do not believe Fiami will be doing an interview because their team in the Link to Past League was called Fiami will do an interview if we win. And Fiami has won on the Reen stream but not in the race, so I still don't think they're going to be doing an interview. Maybe they'll surprise us, but I doubt it.
Now I'm disappointed.
But there's a Feels Brazil vlog in chat, so hi Fiami. GG on your win.
This was definitely an interesting but very rude seed. So definitely GG's to getting through there somewhat well.
It turns out committing to an early Skullwood dive was the best play here, because you were going to get your bow and your Cane of Samaya. And Fiami they got their bow early, but they didn't get their Cane of Samaya. So that was put off for quite a bit, and probably cost them getting in first place overall. But Fiami's rooting advice was really excellent for where the items were in the seed. And they played well around all the enemies, so they did put on an excellent show today. Yeah, Ice Palace was just one massive troll. Never needs to go in there, is just sitting there tempting you to go in there.
So Egg is steadily climbing that tower. Going to meet up with Vitreous for the first time today. Yeah, Durant unfortunately had an very tough call made by going for Egg 1 after having logical access before going to back of escape, so never finding that Moon Pearl. Gambling on that Moon Pearl on the Pyramid Edge, which sadly wasn't the case, and thus got a very, very late start on that Dark World.
Actor Breaker breaking up the Ether in many, many rooms in GT here. I really do like the Ether Medallion just for one-shotting everything come across. It has a way quicker animation than any of the other medallions, and it works on pretty much everything. You still have to kill the Igors with the sword, but that's really no big deal.
Yeah, but while in the normal gauntlet, the medallions wouldn't save you really that much time, if at all. On Enemizer with there are more enemies and they getting all over the place, making use of the medallions actually is a pretty valid strategy.
Duran forges himself a gold sword from the blacksmiths. Something I've been wondering actually. So in the vanilla game, you would usually get the tempered sword from the blacksmiths and the gold sword from the fat fairy, but you could do it in a totally different order. What would happen then? Would you get the tempered sword from the fat fairy and gold sword from the smiths? I'm honestly not sure. I'd have to give it a try sometime.
I'm not sure either. And Egg hovering the gap and noticing, well, you still need to break that shell of Cold Stare at least to climb up that ladder.
That's a thing?
Yep. You actually have to break the shell of Cold Stare or you are not able to get further ahead, even if you can hover. It's not the first time I see that. That's that's why I know.
Duran making the inevitable but oh so unnecessary Ice Palace dip here.
Yeah, you have... I mean, you have 2 items in Left Side Swarm versus 3 items in Ice Palace and 3 hints. So...
And I'd still take the left side swamp over Ice Palace simply because I hate Ice Palace. But that's me personally.
Yeah. I mean, from perspective of hints and items, Ice Palace is the more likely play to have it. But it does not mean that it actually is there, so Durant unfortunately will get the message that there's nothing to find here. We can
Or
just
he may get a Wall Master to the face for his troubles.
Yeah. That's actually the most we can hope for. Getting that Wall Master to actually grab Durant and Durant deciding, nope, try and left side Swarm first.
Now Leslie Pro is nearly done with Mizumai here, and they won't have many options left after this. They can go to take on Mothla in Palace of Darkness, but they gotta find out Ice Sword to take on their Trinax duo.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, that Moth in Palace of Darkness does not have an item, so there's little reason to go for that. But Egg finishing out that fight against Ganon has to just cross that last bridge and will be done with the seed in below 2 hours. Crossing that bridge, getting second on the restream today with an official time of 1 hour 58 minutes and 13 seconds. Placing 5th actually, behind Furaimi.
Yeah, GG's to Ak. And right after he finished, we also had Plasma Kappa coming in 6th place, and Bruce Fan JP just a few seconds afterwards in 7th place. So for our 2 remaining runners on the restream, it is simply a case of get back to Swarm Palace. Durant hasn't even tried to go to left side as far as I'm aware, and Leslie has tried but took an unfortunate death to the spike rollers and chain jumps. So Leslie Pro is going back there now, flooding the aqueduct again. And unfortunately for Durant, they haven't had any misadventures with Wall Master, so they're still in Ice Palace.
And I think we're going to get Egg soon for an interview. Might join us anytime now, so...
So round to left side swamp for Leslie Pro. He's got the cape this time. He immediately busts out the cape. It's the crystal switch. Has to push the lever here. Does have to hit the crystal switch again on his way out. As I've seen runners forget that more than once before. Yeah, hits it again, exits out to the right, and he should be good now. Okay.
Yeah.
We have got a flurry of finishers coming in now. Shire in 8th place with a time of 2 hours 14 seconds. Shortly after them, Futon in 9th place. And just 3 seconds after Futon with 2 hours 33 seconds, PJ in 24 in 10th place. And right after that is Saugadison in 11th place.
Yeah, I mean, you can just take so long to full clear the seat. So at some point, there have to be quite a bunch of people that simply have to find their final items. So not surprising to see them coming in now.
Leslie Pro breaks out the bombers with Daniel about that ice spot. Yeah, it's forgivable. I will fully forgive you for that. I'd probably be doing the same thing. But I prefer Quake.
Yeah.
Quake Rage, best rage.
I mean, when you try to go for it earlier and just get chomped down, and then there was actually that one item which you searched about an hour for after it. That is not something you want to see.
So Durand on their way to Cold Stare. Fortunately, they've shown very good execution of their Ice Palace. So no Wall Master Trolls. They've gone through Ice Palace and found nothing of value.
Oh. Getting the reward now. Fighting a boss that won't yield you anything you need. But getting trolled by those anti-fairies first.
And Leslie Pro is taking on Applejuice Trinex. So they still haven't killed Morphler in the back of Pod, but luckily that's going to be really convenient for Pod because they still have to do the Eastern Palace Orange Juice Trinex too.
Gets in a tactical map check just to make sure he actually found the way to the boss room. And explosions on the top and the bottom, followed by even more explosions. Bosses going down left and right.
So unfortunately for Jans, that was the green pendant, so I think they're just going to flit over and check that green pendant before going to Swamp. And that's going to cost him a bit more time. He has taken on the Morph, so he doesn't need to spend any time in Pod, so it's difficult to say out of him and Leslie who is ahead, but it does depend on when he goes over to left side Swamp. Leslie Pro is of course in go mode now and just has to do the necessary execution, though he still has a fair bit of content left to do.
Well, just from the convenience of doing Pod and Eastern, in one go? Or maybe not? Did Leslie Pro finish Palace of Darkness and we didn't notice? Or did Leslie just straight up forget? That there's actually Crystal hiding over in Palace of Darkness.
I haven't seen. I've seen him in Palace of Darkness. I didn't see him take on the Moth, so I don't think he's done it. But I could be wrong. It's been very difficult to keep track of all 4 races happening at the same time here because it's just so fascinating with all the different enemies mixed in.
And I just now missed twice to confirm Leslie having 5 or 6 crystals, so...
Okay, so they have taken on Moth a little bit.
Good, then just Eastern and Leslie actually has quite a bit of a lead over Durant.
Yeah, shoutouts to trackers again, Red Hammer and Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuner. They have been doing their best job of this. Apparently the tracker software didn't do its thing when marking off Palace of Darkness. It happens. Tracker software likes to try and keep you aware.
I mean, there was craziness happening all over the place at all the time, so it was very, very easy to just miss out on something. Kind of like the collection rate of Egg doing that 169.
So thanks to having finished off Palace of Darkness, Leslie Pro is going to be in a pretty significant advantage over Durant getting into Ganon's Tower here. Just have to finish off Orange Juice to next, and he'll be on his way to the tower. And I did see that Ak went did a mostly full left side clear in Ganon's Tower before getting that big key, so there's the potential to waste time there. I don't think he went all the way to Ice Armor's though, or whatever Ice Armor was.
We didn't get to see that one last boss, so there's still hope for us, because we have 2 more runners that could just do the insane thing and go full left side.
Apparently, Ak has managed to finish a ZM-Z3 combo randomizer race in just a couple of seconds, because we're seeing the end screen for that now. Perhaps he was running Super Metroid the whole time in this race. Maybe that's why he was behind Fiami.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, there were some weird enemies all over the place, so maybe that was what happened.
No Metroids or Space Pirates though. If you had the spring ball, you could probably see Ridley in Link to the Past, but not this time.
Durant finally making that play over to left side. Will hold the ice rod in the hand soon.
First item being a red rupee, just in case you didn't have the Cane of Smile when you're coming in here. So, you know, red item designed to troll you. But there's the ice rod.
And apparently not even time for any rage, just wanting to finish the seed and be done.
Yeah, no time to waste. Gotta take on those Trinexes as soon as possible. Leslie Pro is heading into GT now, and we have had a couple more finishes since the last time I've listed them off. So, Hydropower 78 coming in 12th place with a time of 2 hours, 3 minutes, 46 seconds. Frostbite Freddy Freddy in 13th place. I'm not sure quite how to pronounce this, but Runes Pism in 14th place. And I think in the race overall tonight we've had about 25 entrants, so we've still got a significant number of races still to finish. This has been a very trolly Enemizer as far as trolly Enemizers go. I mean, I hesitate to describe Siege as trolly, but so many spikes getting in the way, and fire bars, and chain jumps. Not to mention items being in really inconvenient locations.
Yeah, that ice rod was just not only a root location, but heavily guarded. So, but it looks like we had 21 runners doing this race today, and we have 14 of them finished at this point with 3 forfeits.
Yeah, we have had a couple of forfeits in the race, and honestly, don't blame those forfeits at all. This has been a very, very difficult Chaos Boss shovel.
Yeah, but Durant still pulling through there, so props to that.
Leslie Poe does check right side first before going over to left side. And it's on their way up the gauntlet, which, as far as gauntlets go, was actually pretty kind. Siege was essentially trolling you with nasty enemies all the way through in the worst possible locations, and when it comes to gauntlets, it takes it easy on you, gives you a smooth finish.
Yeah, I mean, you suffered for 2 hours getting to the tower, so maybe you suffered enough at that point.
Yeah. Leslie Poe also breaking out the Ether Medallion of Efficiency, and honestly, I just love the Ether Medallion's uses, especially on Axide, who was using it all the way through this race. If you get an early half magic and an early Ether Medallion, really do make use of it. It's so useful.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the gold sword, it may not be that necessary, but in Enemizer, just make use of what you have. It's almost always faster than just trying to do everything the way you used to, because nothing is the way you used to. Just taking out that Vitreous.
Yeah, without any good silver arrows, Vitreous becomes even more trivial than you would usually be with the silvers.
Yeah, we have also seen the cape in use with the gold sword to just dash through the ice. But that victory is really one of the easiest tasks in this seed. Durant is fighting Trinix in Eastern Palace.
Just obliterating it with that gold sword. Hey, there's a mushroom! Mushroom at the top of DG for Leslie Poe.
20 rupees. One more hard piece as Durant takes down Trinix, number 1 or number 2, I guess.
Now, looking at Leslie's tracker, that is a ridiculously full tracker. All he's missing is the Aga 1 kill, which Durand unfortunately did, and a couple shields.
Durand deciding to stock up on potions. At this point, why not? And that Skull just rudely interrupting that dash through this room for Leslie.
Nice double hit on Aga 2 there for Leslie as he starts his Aga 2 fight. Ooh, blue ball to the face.
Yeah, missed the 2 shots and then took the blue ball. It's a very nice position here to finish out that fight.
And Leslie kind of taunting the corpse of Aga a bit. You know, just stomping on him a bit with the Pegasus boots. Kick the dead Rado down, kind of thing.
Yeah, but there's been something coming out and hovering away, kind of.
So as Leslie Pro is about to take on Ganon, Durand is making their way into GT.
So that should definitely be done with the phase 2. And we will likely see Durand having a key number 2. Picking up that shovel. Going for that one more small key on the left side.
Nice double hit in phase 4 for Leslie Pro. Gets towards the glitch. One more hit will take out Ganon. Some pretty convenient teleports there, and down goes Ganon with Leslie Pro.
And Leslie Pro crossing that bridge, finishing the seed. Third in our restream today with an official time of 2 hours, 17 minutes and 56 seconds, placing in 17th place overall.
So GG to Leslie, and I'm sure he'll want to talk about this seed, so we'll try and get him in for an interview.
I see Leslie. Apparently almost ready to join us here in the booth. And there Leslie is. GG's to you. Finishing this.
Thanks. I cannot. The start that I was on, it was like everything was just rolling snake eyes for me. Then I get into Swamp Palace, and that is just par for my luck that where I was headed was the required route. I die, and I don't return until I quite literally last location the ice rod for Gomo. That easily cost me at least 30 minutes.
Last location Ice World was kind of a recurring theme here, but it was unfortunate for you because you were the first one to actually think about going to the left side. Everybody else, we saw a bunch of early swamp clears from Fuami and Aktaboka, and they all decided, nope, done here, I'm going to go elsewhere, more lucrative. So you were the only one who thought about going left side early. Could have gone to Ice World quite a bit sooner, but so it's unfortunate, but this seed has given everyone a run around looking for items.
Yeah, that's what Enemizer does when you get to Chaos Boss Shuffle, is that you can get some ugly combinations. Like, there were a couple of rooms where you saw things that probably shouldn't be there, like the spike, like unavoidable big spike sliders. I can think of one in Pod, and that one in Turtle Rock brought back a memory from the last tournament, because I had an Enemizer race against Bonta, and I won that race because in that room with the big spike slider, he crashed. So, yeah, there are some things in Enemizer that just should not be in certain places. And that's definitely one of them on my list. Unless you're like on some sort of harder difficulty, then yeah, I would be fine with that. But for a regular difficulty, that can be rude to newer players.
Yeah, rude. It's sorry.
Yeah, this was definitely the theme of the seed. This was not for newer players at all, and even somewhat experienced players, at least with with the standard or open seeds, might tend to struggle on quite a few of this ugly setups that this Enemizer threw at us. So
true that. I mean, the route that I took to start the seed, like 10-minute Dark World, who's not gonna jump into Dark World right away from that? Seriously. You'd be crazy not to.
well, if you find your moon pearl, that is. Huh?
Yeah, for sure. Like, that just opened up routing that I just ran with. My only two regrets are, as soon as I got Cape, I should have gone right back to Swamp Palace, because that basically was a Cape or a fairy in a bottle required setup, maybe even two, for just to get to left side. And as soon as I saw Fire Rod, I should have gone running right for Skullwoods. That one I kicked myself in the butt for. Is that seed was screaming Skullwoods, but I didn't know what sort of horror I was going to run into, so it was probably a good thing I went there with stronger equipment, because that would have been Lighter Sword Argus in that setup would have been really rough.
Yeah, I believe Hirami tried that and didn't get it the first time, so bailed on it and left behind the Cane of Somaria because of that. But, yeah.
Nobody did a full clear of Skullwoods in the first go. Everybody left behind the Cane of Somaria after going in there. I think Durandam actually might have done a full clear when he was on his first trip through, but he was so far behind everybody else that it didn't matter at that point. But Fiami claimed the bow and didn't get the Cane of Samaya, and Aknaboka just went there way later.
Yeah, I went there way later. Like, I was gonna try to do Eastern and Pod, which didn't work out, but as soon as I saw that hint, that's why I ran myself into the hint tile a few times, because that was just... because I was already over there to check the pedestal. Yeah, that's one of those you kick yourself in the rear for. Yeah, well, it's what it is on that front, as they say. But hey, it was a good seed. I just, it just got me good.
Super entertaining to watch, but super suffering. I don't play Enemizer much myself, but I really do love it as a game mode.
Yeah, as do I. It certainly does need some tweaks to be a better game mode that's more accessible to everybody. because, well, I don't play Enemizer often enough, so I can't speak for this, but I'm pretty sure some of that nasty stuff we saw probably even shows up on simple Enemizer, and that can be really scary. Thankfully, there weren't too many Lionels and too many terrible places, but hey, it could have been worse. At least I had Ether Medallion from clearing out rooms easily, because there are a number of enemies that you'd be surprised what Medallion takes them out fast, which really speeds up combat, which was really my one saving grace here.
And invincibility items mattered so much too, as you found out in Sword Pass. But there were so many rolling spikes in like narrow corridors, as well as chain jumps, and basically just spikes everywhere.
Yeah, it was like a Pangea Mario Maker 2 level with all the spikes and crystal rollers, in all honesty.
There weren't that many fire bars. I'd expect more fire bars in a Mario Maker level.
True, but the amount of spikes made it feel like a crazy Mario Maker level.
Quick intermission here. There's Durant finishes up Ganon, crosses that bridge, and finished this race as fourth place in our restream with a time of 2 hours, 25 minutes and 46 seconds, placing 18th place overall, finishing out this race.
GG's to everybody who raced this. Looking at those who are at the top, no surprise really, because those are really some of the best players in the community that are like in terms of execution overall. And that says something about how good they are. And honestly, that says that I got to put some work in to get back into the skill level, because I know there's probably a tournament coming up in a few months, and I probably want to be ready for that, because if I get caught unprepared, it ain't going to end well for me. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So we're already joined by Durant here in the interview booth, so GG Durant.
GG.
GG Durant. That one got me good.
What a shame about that moon pulver.
Well, recently I've been doing seeds where I try and go for the later spheres, and that's what bit me. This time it's just I needed to get something that was in an earlier sphere, and it happened to be there. Among other things, I'm sure the ice rod trolled a lot of people, but I got trolled a lot.
I got trolled by that early, and that cost me a half an hour easily.
Yeah, it just made sense to skip that. I don't feel like that was a mistake. It's just everything added together. You know, muscle memory really threw me off because I don't play enough Enemizers, and I play way too many open and standards. So it's just, oops, I can't do that.
I mean, you surely were not the only one. I remember Agboga, at least on the first trip through ice, placing that one bomb for the 2 Stalfos, which, of course, never were there in the first place. So.
I did remember not to do that. That's one thing I didn't do in muscle memory, but a lot of other stuff, you know, like, okay, equip the bow, I'm going to need to shoot the... Oh, right. There's not going to be an enemy I need a bow for here. And I checked pod late for the same reason. Actually no, pod I checked later for it because I needed the bow. But there were other dungeons, like, oh shoot, what was the other one? Dang, I can't remember what I was thinking at the time.
Skullward, perhaps? That was loads of items, and everybody kind of put that off until way later in the race.
Yeah, that's true too. I did leave that one sitting there for a while.
Fiaimi was like getting into a dark world at the same time as Agboga, but they went into Skullwards much earlier than anybody else. They got the bow from Skullwards. They still left behind the Cave of Smoke because they took a death to Argus at the back, and they didn't come back until much later. So it could have been everybody could have done this seed way more efficiently if they had just gone straight into Skullwards and committed to fully clearing Skullwards, and also committed to clearing Swamp Palace. So there are a lot of inefficiencies in this seed, but Enemizer is kind of designed to give you inefficiencies. You want to check out left side? Hey, here's 2 spike rollers and an exchange shop anyway. Have fun.
Well, we were tempted away from going back to Skull Woods because Fire Rod was in the Village of Outcasts. So it's like right after you finish dealing with Skull Woods. If you do that before Village of Outcasts, I saw it and I was like, great, that's fine timing. I sure hope nothing's in there. Okay. Guess there was.
So yeah, other than the bow and the fire rod putting off a lot of people, and of course the ice rods, what other things do you think you could have done to improve it? I mean, obviously there was the moon pile, but like your general execution was pretty much on point, Durand. It's just the items were eluding you for so long. But what other things do you think you could like do to improve in Enemizer?
So, muscle memory, of course, I mentioned that. I think part of it, I feel like I got a little too cocky in certain areas with less health. I tend to, gauge that a little differently, because I'm still thinking, like, okay, I've got like 5 hearts, I can deal with Mini Moldorm Cave. Well, I'm not used to those, like, disappearing wall creatures. I don't even know what they're called, like black grasshoppers. I don't know how to deal with them, so oops, died there. So I think that's part of it, just expecting the unexpected a little more. And it's hard to say what else in terms of routing, because I've always had the tendency of checking everything, so I end up hundoing anyway. But here, I'm trying to leave a little earlier. It just didn't really come up as a good idea. And just so many things left behind, like leaving the last item in Skull Woods. A lot of deaths. Like, I took a ton of deaths. I haven't seen it on screen yet, how many I took, but there were a lot. And I think that really ate into my time more than anything.
Yeah, you had a couple of a bit unfortunate deaths on bosses too. That can always be a little bit hurting.
Yeah, sometimes it's not always how many deaths you take, but sometimes it's where you take them and the timing. Like, I would have had Ice Rod so much earlier, but that one room, I just couldn't manipulate the chain chomp away from the lever long enough to be able to pull it and be safe. So that's what got me there. The way I look at Enemizer is, and I say this having watched Zelda 1 Rando, where enemy shuffle is a constant thing. When it comes to enemy sets, you have to expect the unexpected.
Yeah, definitely. Just didn't expect it enough. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Enemizer, every time you cut down a bush, you always have to expect the crystal roller just popping out of there, crossing the entire screen. So
I didn't worry too much about that. I was thinking, okay, if I get a roller, fine, it's gonna happen from time to time. If this were, randomized damage, no, I'm not gonna dash through bushes. Forget about that. But yeah, it looked like 8 deaths. I've had more, so that's good, I guess. But a lot of them were in bad places. Like, I think there was a roller in Swamp Palace that I thought was gonna go... Like, I thought it was gonna go further down, so I dashed forward and ended up dashing right into it because it stopped and then started going back up. So that was one thing. That was bad judgment. So, it's just, there are so many things I can list where I made a mistake. Just need to play more Enemizers.
Yeah, it's not a game mode we see often in the daily races, but when you do see it, it is always a treat to witness. So, GG to both of you. I think we're going to wrap things up here pretty shortly. So, Durand, Leslie Poe, do you have any final thoughts on Enemizer and what you if you want to do more Enemizer races?
Well, I certainly... Go ahead, Durand, you first.
Oh, sure. Well, despite coming in last, aside from people who forfeit, I will still do Enemizers. I think they're a lot of fun, and out of all of the modes, they're the most fun to watch. So I hope everyone enjoyed that.
Yeah, I certainly hope everybody enjoyed Enemizer tonight. It's fun mode to watch, to play. I certainly enjoy it. I still think some things could be adjusted to the mode to make it a better experience overall, personally, but that doesn't hinder my enjoyment of playing the mode. Now, with that being said, shout outs to you guys on commentary and tracking, as well as for having us on Restream. It was certainly a treat to be on Restream tonight. Much appreciated. And I'm going to get on out of here on that note. GG's to Rand and to everyone else in the race. I will see you guys next time.
GG's.
Yeah, GG's, and thanks for giving us a race. And
Take
so,
care.
thank you to Durant, to our other finishers, Viami and Aku. Unfortunately, didn't join us for interviews, but I did see Aku lurking around in chat, and Viami too. So, GG's to both of you. Want to thank our trackers tonight, Rich Weber, Mr. Scruff Ninja Tuner, and Red Armor. They did a very good job tonight. And thank you too to my fellow commentator, Valen Tankit.
Thanks to you as well. It was a blast. We had a very, very entertaining race to see, which all things that happened. So I had fun, and I hope everyone else watching this had fun as well.
Not much else happening on Speed Gaming tonight. I believe there's a Super Metroid double anti-bingo race happening over on SG1 at the moment. Otherwise, we have got another. We've got the the Open Weekly race on Sunday to as will be at 5:30 Eastern Time. So do check that out. And yes, I will see you all in the next race. Thanks for watching.